Welcome to the challenge of the day. Practice being kind instead of right. Who is the first person that comes to mind when you think of having a conversation with a difficult person? I'd like for you to complete this statement using that person's name. I feel some emotion whenever I have a conversation with person B. Their need to always be right or have the last word makes me feel some emotion. For example, I feel irritated whenever I have a conversation with person B. Their need to always be right or have the last word makes me feel frustrated, angry, pissed off. When we experience these emotions during conversations, our instinct, our pattern, our habits are to react because the encounter with person B has triggered us in some negative way. This can create a disconnection. These lingering emotions of frustration or anger, they likely create or reinforce avoidance behaviors, and we tend to use those in order to limit or not have interactions when possible with person B. But this doesn't really solve the problem. It just creates bigger issues and it reinforces poor communication habits and patterns. So, are you ready for today's challenge? Reach out to person B and choose to engage in a conversation about a topic that creates tension or might need resolution. Now, I caution you, stay away from politics, religion, and even current events. But I want you to use the following steps that I'm going to share with you in engaging this conversation. Remember to keep notes of your experience so that you can reflect back on that later. Ready for the steps? All right. Step 1, practice compassion and kindness. No matter what, lead the conversation with this energy. Even practice before having the conversation with person B so that you make sure you're really infusing that kindness and that higher level of energy into the conversation. Step 2, start the conversation from a place of gratitude. For example, you could say something like, "Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me," or "I really appreciate your making time for me today so that we can have this conversation." Something like that. Step 3, and this is very important, practice intuitive listening. Actively engage your listening skills. Pay attention to verbal language and your tone of voice. Notice body language, both yours and theirs. And you can do this if you're in their presence, even virtually. You can still pay attention to all of the verbal and physical cues. Pay attention to their energy. Are they uncomfortable, nervous, arms folded, talking fast, not engaging in eye contact? Did they show up being defensive, hostile, aggressive? Each of these offer valuable clues and insights. So practice being aware during the conversation of both yours and their behaviors. Now, step 4 is super important. Don't engage in an argument. Don't be combative. Don't be hostile. Don't be defensive. Even if person B has shown up to the conversation that way, be mindful of your behavior and don't engage in this argument. Instead, let's practice kindness and infuse that in the conversation and see how quickly it can change person B's stature and perceptions. So remember, practice awareness and notice that if something person B says or does triggers a negative emotion or reaction in your body, just make note of it. This will be something that you can explore within yourself later to uncover why this might be occurring. Now, step 5, acknowledge that you are hearing person B's perspective. Validate them as a person. Even if you disagree with their point of view, still acknowledge that they are sharing that information with you and that you hear them, that you see them, and that you're listening to what they have to say. Step 6, get curious. Ask questions about person B's perspective to help you understand their point of view. But a word of caution, don't use sarcasm. Don't be defensive. Don't be combative. Don't be dominating or domineering. And don't use any other tactics to try and undermine their position. The goal here is not to stand in judgment. It's not about being right or wrong. The goal is to gain more clarity, more awareness, and more understanding. So remember, be curious, but be kind. Step 7, respond, not react when you are speaking. Remember to practice kindness. It isn't about who is or isn't right. Use gratitude and kindness. Thank person B for helping you to understand their perspective. Acknowledge their point of view, and then state your position, but without judgment, without anger or frustration. Instead, be kind and sincere, be your authentic self, and just have a conversation where you and person B can both engage in good communication, even if you disagree. It doesn't have to be a hot argument or a space of defensiveness and aggression. Remove the right versus wrong. It doesn't belong in most conversations. Perhaps you are both right or both wrong, based on your lens or perspective. The goal, again, is to just reach a place of acceptance where the conversations with person B don't cause the emotions you expressed at the very beginning of this challenge. You can always agree to disagree, but you can do so with kindness and see what a game changer it will be in your communication. When you take time to respond, not react, you have the opportunity to remove the catabolic energy. Catabolic energy can prevent you from reaching a place of mutual respect and understanding. Remember, today's challenge is to practice kindness, not about who is right. So go ahead, complete today's challenge and up-level your communication and leadership skills. Become a badass communicator. I can't wait to hear how today's challenge goes for you. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.